Let's do it. Let's do a breath.
We'll do a quick second Shavasana.
You want to lead the breath?
3, 2, 1. Hello. Welcome to the second episode of The Rose Garden. My name is Rose, and today on this podcast, we have the pleasure of having Spirit, aka The Feeling Of, aka 24kspirit, aka, as we all know him as well, Kyle. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
We also have on the ones and twos in the back, and with a microphone this time, Corey Medovich, aka Meadow, aka Laxrat, aka Laxer Boys. We shot this podcast a couple of days ago, and it was funny because we were listening over to it. Well, it was like a week ago or whatever, and we started to edit it, and I was watching it over and over again. And you know what? I talked about myself too much, and I don't want this to be about me. I think that I am a vessel, kind of speaking the message that I think needs to be said, and it includes me because I feel like I am the one saying it, but this is much grander than me and what I feel and what I, what I am. This is like encompassing all of that. So the podcast for the month is going to be about music. So I first want to talk about the music. The song itself, excuse me, one of the reasons that I did it was because it was a little bit on the smoother side in terms of I didn't want to give it to you too crazy right off the bat. I wanted to kind of reel you in and let you know what I was talking about. And a couple standout bars that I had in the song for me was, all these politicians politicking, this my fight. Because all these politicians that we see that are supposed to be doing good by the people have forgotten about the people. And these are a couple of things that I want to implement and I want to talk about, and this be my message. Like, this is my brand, that like, if we stand together as a united front, there are so many people in America. If we all just band together and get correct on a couple ideas, I think that we could do a lot of good in the world. And America is the leader. We are at the forefront of a lot of things. And with technology the way that it is, we can communicate with everybody in the world and get singular messages and ideas across better than ever in history. And that is why I feel like right now was the perfect time for me to release this music. And it kind of just all came to fruition at the right time. And I've really been waiting a long time to have this right moment. And this really does feel like the moment. One, for the skill that I feel like I'm entering into and the platform that I want to succeed in, and as well for the idea that I'm trying to push and what I want to get across. Balance. Rocking back and forth, trying to find my balance. I feel like that is one thing everybody tries to struggle with in the world, and that is something that, without the balance, it wouldn't have gotten me to this point. There's been definitely imbalanced times in my life, and finding a little bit of balance has led me to a lot of peace. So without further ado, I want to let Kyle tell a little story about me the first time that he said on the last podcast that I wanted to reiterate just because I thought that was so like authentic and pure. That's one of the only things I'm going to take from the last podcast. And that's the only thing about me that I want to be said on this podcast. And this was one of the first times that me and Kyle were really hanging out. We had hung out before, but now we were in this setting where we were together with a couple friends, and
Yeah, doing a podcast twice is quite interesting because there was a lot of good little nuggets in there for sure. But this was definitely one of them. By the way, if you haven't watched the music video yet or haven't listened to the music yet, do that shit. First time I met Jake, surname, a.k.a. Rose, a.k.a. Rosetti, a.k.a. my fucking brother. We were sitting around a dinner table at nighttime. It was at your old spot, one of your old spots, and it had to be late night too. But we were chilling around the dining table, and some beat came on. I don't know if you're ever just hanging out with your boys or hanging out with your girls or hanging out with your boy girls, whatever. The beat drops, and just as some of us were spitting some spoken word. just stupid. It was. I'm like, that's such an authentic story too. But anyways, we were sitting around the corner. Jake's kind of to himself, quiet. He's not like the end of the table.
Like I'm waiting. Yeah,
he's at the end of the table.
We're throwing in 2 bars here and there.
Yeah,
things are going back and forth.
Yeah, just trying to like rhyme the last word, if anything, at minimum.
I think I waited a couple rounds.
Yeah, going around. I think there was got to be like 6 of us. So like went around like a couple times, but Jake didn't. And all of a sudden, like it comes up to Jake, and he was just like, like I don't know what came out of him, but it was like this moment when he's like, I'm
about to show my friends.
Yeah, like I've been practicing this shit for sure.
Yeah,
I think about that too. I'm like, were you practicing? How often were you practicing?
Dude, I only recently have I taken my foot off the pedal with how much music I'm actually making. Mm-hmm. And I, from 21 to 24, 25, I was almost every day 2 to 4 to 6 hours making music, working on music, thinking about it, doing stuff. And I think that's why now when I'm able to sit down and work on music as much as I can, which is still generally like, multiple times throughout the week, I feel like I get more done because like I put the effort in where it was like taking me a long time to write a song, and I felt like in a way I was writing the same song over and over again trying to make it good. And now I feel like I can make that song and branch out from it, and I can talk about my life as well, because first when I started it was like I was just so angry, like I was just like fuck yeah,
expressing.
And I was expressing my anger, and I didn't know how to like translate that out to the message. And that's where like shout out to Rich Tim Man, producer extraordinaire from lives in LA now, but at the time was helping me out. And like I would like say things, and he would basically taught me how to like rap. And at that time I was like putting it together, and like I knew how to freestyle, but I was just saying stuff when I freestyle, but I couldn't translate that to make a song, like it was still in such a raw form. And still there's times like some of my songs I've written all the way, some of my songs I wrote half, and some of the songs I have none written down. Like the third song of the month, or the third month, the song that comes out that month, I don't even have the lyrics in my phone yet. Like I did the song while I was recording it, and it was just you know what I mean? It was just happening.
Yeah. So that's what it felt like the first time. And that was like 6 years ago. So progress wise, just from releasing music that you like feel good about, or getting out there and actually expressing some of these thoughts that you have, it's very honorable and definitely takes courage, dude, for sure, to get out your shit, to be judged, to be stood behind, which is your goal, to get people behind kind of what your message is. It was fun. It was fun creating the music video. I think
shout out to Recycle Propaganda.
The homie let us use his space, and I think in the simplest way, for even like my first music video, like that was awesome. You know?
For sure.
And shoot, another like couple years down the road, and there's more locations, bigger ideas,
more money,
hopefully sponsors or something that are like, let's be a part of the story. Let's get behind this message. I think that'd be cool to see. But yeah, for the first one, that was fun. My favorite person is the guy at the front. Just real quick, just let me know how if you need anything. Just just like a standout moment where
that
it's
little
like
snippet.
It's funny because if you watch that particular scene, it's me walking by the camera, but I got the edge of the back of me, so there is a little bit of motion in it, and it's like those little things, because to tell a story, you kind of just a little subtle dope for sure.
So was Recycle Propaganda the first spot that you guys wanted to do it at, or did you have other ideas and then you landed on it? Or?
It's interesting you say that, because the initial idea, we were really thinking this, the story is if the storyline in the simplest way doesn't come across, totally cool, but the idea was he walks into this space with all of these ideas and all of the many things that he's experienced as like a person going into this space. And art kind of does that abstract thing where it does tell a story, and I think when you kind of follow it through, there's these three characters,
4
characters if you include the audience in a way. But it's this it was gonna be like a theater, and I think we run that sometime. I think we should run
I think
that.
I think the finalized version of it is me performing to all the different versions that got me to myself here in one way or another, so it'd be like 10 people in the crowd, all different versions of myself that I feel like I've kind of transformed through. And it's crazy as I've gotten older. It's interesting. I feel like I've definitely kind of, in a sense, transformed into this best version of myself, as I feel like many people have, and that is like a part of growing up, is having this cocoon that you're in for so long, and then like finally breaking out and being like, oh, like this is who I am, this is what I want, and finding those things out. And I think at the beginning when I started to make music, I was still figuring so much of that out, that the reason for me making music was feeling this way and not feeling like anybody was doing it, or not feeling like anybody was talking about it. Because and when that was, it was like around 2012, so I was 19 years old, 20 years old, so 19 years old, and I felt like I started to see the world at a different place. And I have this analogy I kind of want to put out there that I think is my concept of how the lifespan of somebody can go, or not the lifespan, but just like a basic idea of what I see the world as, or some part of it. And it basically goes as if there's a wall, like this was a wall, and everybody is born with the wall there that has the sun and the moon and whatever your surrounding spaces. You might have one father, two fathers, foster care, one parent, whatever the situation is. Maybe born in Florida, maybe born in Naples, maybe born in Germany, Pakistan, anywhere, Russia, China, Japan, anywhere in the world. We are all born humans looking at this wall that is our family, or whatever life is like at the beginning of life. And as you get older and as you start to learn, you can totally stay in that wall, and you can live in that wall, and that's fine. There's that But if you want to get further, like you look over and you see things a little bit differently, and you study and you look at the world at a grander scale, and you maybe see things maybe for a little bit more of what it's worth than what you're told it is. Because I feel like in school you learn a history, you don't necessarily learn the history. You learn the history is told by the victor. So oftentimes you are told the story of the person who won the war, not necessarily what the full history is. So again, that wall of whatever you're told, whatever you're supposed to hate, whatever religion you're born into, like we are all just people in my eyes at the end of the day. At the beginning of the day too, we all have to eat shit, shave, whatever it is. Like we all got to do these basic human things. And when you get above that wall, for me, it was anger. Like above that wall was like this angry point in time where I was like, oh my gosh, like, holy shoot, nobody's talking about this. Like the news is lying. The government's lying. Did we do this? Did this happen? And you could go through this rabbit hole that's on the internet, because at the moment, the internet is so widespread that there's so much information on the internet. And when I went down that rabbit hole, that's when I started my thing of being like, how come nobody's talking about this? How come you have to have an impersonal or how come you have to have a personal conversation with somebody to get any feedback on it? And it's not something that a lot of people like to even talk about. Like most people don't want to talk about politics, but at the end of the day, like we are politics. Like we are the people putting these things into play, and like we are responsible slightly for what we have let happen in some degree. So back to you have this picture here. Everybody in the world starts with this. No matter, that's again my perspective on things. As you get older, or as you get more experienced and more educated, you see things more for what it is. And that can again lead you to this angry point. And I think a lot of things happen in this angry state, thinking that what angers me here is going to affect this person here. There's multiple examples that have happened in the world in different times where people have done something negative to try to have a positive effect on the world. In some ways, you know, you don't want to say that what they did was good because what they did was bad, but the message that they stood behind could maybe have some merit. And I think this goes for many things, like even speaking from an American perspective, that I try to be as educated as I possibly can, but like people in the Middle East, sometimes when you've heard like the death to America, because what I feel is that they see us as having this ideal life or this amazing thing that we've all got going for us. And I do feel like America is this amazing thing that we could potentially grow into this incredible, you know, country. And I think it is an incredible country, and we're at the most advanced place in the world that we could ever be, and this is the best place in the world to live. But there are still some things that we can improve on, and where you anger, what you say up here isn't going to affect the person here. And my goal, I don't know if I'm hoping that I'm on my way there, but my goal is to eventually be able to get to a point where what I can say or what I can have this message is can encompass the whole circle. Eventually we can get to a point, I would say, like Gandhi, Buddha, not to compare myself to them at all, that's not what this is, but when they spoke, Martin Luther King, when they spoke, they reached everybody. It wasn't about one person, one group, one idea. It was about, hey, we're all in this together. Like, we are the only ones here on earth that can make an impact in the world.
Fuck yeah, amen. You know, it's interesting on that note real quick, is you said it, like you went down this rabbit hole, but you didn't find what you wanted to hear. So now you're kind of expressing it through music, and you're having these difficult conversations and kind of changing people's perspectives, because, you know, our lives could be much worse, much worse. And for many people, our life is much better. And it's not about necessarily your perspective, but it is encompassing a lot of just like the people, you know, like you mentioned, we're in the rose garden. The rose garden in a sense has some weeds sometimes that you need to, you know, bad weeds, I should say, that you need to pull out of there. Yeah. And you need to talk about it. If you don't recognize them, they're gonna kill the garden. They're gonna kill the garden, you know. Yeah. And
dude, macro is perfect. Yeah.
It's very it's gonna be, you know, it's interesting because it's there. People want it. Like, you can feel it, you know, like if you look at every big musician or people in that light, they're like, hey, who is having the conversation? Who is talking about it? Who is backing it? Put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. Like, let's do this thing.
And I feel like a lot of people don't want to get or take this responsibility. Like, once I've heard celebrities, whatever, and they get on a video and it's like, oh, what do you think about politics? And they're like, I don't get into politics. I don't talk about that. And I think that's fine and dandy. But I think that if we have the responsibility, or I think that if we have the capability and the ability to influence people in the correct direction, I think that at this point in time in the world, we have to take that responsibility full-heartedly and say we can do something different. And if it is that we just don't know, we need to find out. We need to figure out, because like even when we wrote the Constitution and the shit that we did, like there was a lot of great points in there, and right now it's really hard to change things because there's so many rules in Congress and there's different levels of things that have to get passed. And I think that that's fine and dandy, but I think at some point in time we have to look at it and be like, hey, look, we could take a recap of all this shit and we could do it a little better. And I think that there's people that want to do it better, but we're still in this dogmatic old school routine of how things used to be and how you used to be able to run things. For instance, with plastic, when we invented plastic was a holy grail. Oh my gosh, you mean to tell me we can put stuff in this plastic thing and it's good and we can package it and ship it places? Plastic was a godsend at the time, and we used it for everything. Now there's piles and piles and piles of plastic in the ocean and around the world, that is places that we don't even want it to be, but we are so wasteful with things, and so, you know, just disregarding the other aspects of the world. Because with this whole thing, we're all included. Like, if one thing goes, in my eyes, this is somewhat of a house of cards. It's like a beautiful dance that we do. Something like how gravity creates sand dunes, and without this specific gravity, sand dunes wouldn't form. They wouldn't be able to like stay up. They would fall. But it's because of the gravity that we have that nature is able to create these things. And it's like that with everything. Like, all of different atmospheres and ecospheres that are going on in the world are able to do that because of Mother Nature. And with disregard to Mother Nature, we are forgetting the main source of ability for humans to survive, in my eyes. And that's what music is, to me, is trying to spread this message, because if not now, then when? And if not you, then who? I will not say that it is the next generation that has to handle these problems. It is not for anybody else but us, and that is for everybody. That goes for everybody. This is not about age or whatever you got or whatever it is. This is about the fact that we all as people have to band together to create a better future. And we're not going to do that by allowing people to enforce rules and things that are not in the interest of humans. Having corporations be able to do what they can do in the United States and have the pull and ability that they do to create these things, and have this massive money fund that goes into themselves and also into different politicians and the sphere that is, you know, what's going on. But like, yeah, what, you know, and shout out to D-Dot Rugs for the Rose Garden rug, and Saga for laying back at just the right moment for her to look super cute in the podcast. She might be in there, maybe not, but
we got a little tail end.
A little tail end there. But
so I'm actually curious, since we got Meadow here. When you first saw the video, you heard the song prior, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm totally assuming.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what happens when you assume. So when you heard the final cut came out, and then when you saw the music video, what was like your initial, what do you think? Initial reaction?
So as far as the videography of it, as far as the color scheme fits him perfectly, because a lot of these messages are trying to bring light into the darkness. So the atmosphere that's in that back room is very dark, but there's vibrant colors that come from it. And if I'm understanding your message correctly, that's what you're trying to do, is show that together we can form a light within this darkness.
Yes.
So I got that from it. And I absolutely love the fact that, you know, you're walking into this store. Can I help you with anything? You know, I'm just looking around. And then you find your way back into this place. And then within this place is where you find this message. And then when you have that message, you try and take it out to the world. So like, I felt like it fully encompassed. Dude,
that was so beautiful.
What you were trying to do.
That is literally the unknown known of the video. 100%.
Yeah.
That is delivering. That is the package that we were trying to deliver, is what you just said, in my eyes. And that is my message to the whole thing.
Yeah,
that is it.
And I know that I have like a lot more context to
and also
what you're trying to do. But
when do you think my music started to sound good?
We're hitting some reality.
We've got
here.
some memos before, and we're like, that's right.
Not the best.
Realistically, when I think that you started to come into yourself, as far as because I think lyrically you've been there for, I would say, close to about a year now.
Yeah.
But when we would sit down and we'd be, you know, I'd be there with you when you're making the music.
Yeah.
It was very much you were just saying it instead of finding that the cadence that you're trying to say it in.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to say a message, you're saying a message, and when you're trying to elicit some sort of feeling, then it takes the way that you say it in order for someone to feel that.
Yeah.
So you can say a message all you want. You know, it's a lot when it comes to like audiobooks. You can either have someone that's very monotone and it's kind of hard to keep up with it. But then once you find the groove of it, not only matching the music itself, but the message that you're trying to say, I would say within the last 6 months specifically, like you have made leaps and bounds of the inflection that you present. So I would say probably in the last year your lyrics have tightened up, and in the last 6 months.
I've been doing this for the last 7 years of my life. I have been hoping that I would be good as a rapper so that I could spread this fucking message.
think we all want to be a rapper in our childhood, you know. And you can
Hands
accomplish
down.
that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I ain't getting on. Maybe I'll get on it. Maybe later on an album, you know.
Dude, I'll fucking give you however much time. It ain't safe
Give me a
for the
bar.
cops. Not even for the. It ain't safe on the block. Not even for the cops.
What was the first rap album that you ever had? Do you remember?
Get Rich or Die Trying.
Okay.
That's
And
awesome.
then Eminem's curtain call, or the Eminem show that had Superman, Mama. But dude, 50 Cent's in the club.
But like,
I got in trouble listening to 50 Cent in the club. Like, I got in trouble for listening to that song because it was so. I was like, no, this is the one. Like, you guys, this is the song. Like, this song is fucking tight. And like, there wasn't really people like giving me like feedback on like my type of music, other than like a couple friends. But like, they were listening to other things, and I was like, nah, this is the one. And then like, I started listening to him, Eminem, Nas, Biggie, Tupac, and then from there it was like Mobb Deep for sure, Brother Lynch Hung, Tech Nine. Definitely got into a huge Tech Nine phase. Thought he was the shit, still is. And then like
unique voices.
unique voices. And then, of course, like fucking Run DMC, you know, Beastie Boys. I feel like I was I was enthralled. Still to this day, I love music. Like, that is one of the reasons that I felt like music was my outlet, was from how much I love music and how much music gave to me. Like, there has been many moments that music has, in many ways, music is my savior. That song, whatever that was, like, in many ways, music saved my life. Many ways, me doing it and listening to it. Like, I found out a lot about myself from listening to other people and hearing other people say shit that I was like, oh, I resonate with that, no matter how like crazy or off what my life was. And then me trying to emulate it in ways as I grew up, and then finding this outlet for how I could be creative, because I needed something. And like, that's what music was at first. Like, I was going to school and I was like, fuck this shit, this doesn't fit for me. Like, it just didn't work. Like, it didn't make sense. And I was in school for longer than in hindsight, I'm so happy that everything I did led me to this point. But I didn't want to be in school I graduated high school early because I didn't like school, and then I went to college afterwards because it was like, that's what you do next. But it wasn't like I was like, yeah, let me just keep going to school to find out more shit. And I changed my major 4 times because I learned about it, and then I was like, it's not for me. Learned about it, nah, it's for me. You know, so what?
But in that sense, you know, like expression, that's, you know, that's,
expression.
We kind of briefly talked about that before, but I'll just put to that point, is when you suppress a lot of these feelings at any age, it is really unhealthy. And, you know, something to touch on too in your music probably is going to be mental health. You know,
100%.
You know, because I know we've all experienced like versions of it, but a lot of that is because we suppress a lot of it.
Yeah.
So when you can actually find not only the words, but like the way to express it, I think there is, you know, like you're experiencing, you're like, music saved me, art saved me.
Yeah, for sure.
Being able to express
and
my
say
feelings
something
saved me, you know. And that truly is a little like, if somebody can hear that and be like, man, he can rap, I'm gonna try. I'm inspired by his way. Or maybe it's because you save them. You know, like it's this kind of pay it forward aspect, but you have to be able to get it out and express it.
For sure.
You have to be able to try to, at least. And maybe it's not music for people, maybe it's not painting for things, you know. I grew up in the skateboard community, and skating, like lines, like doing tricks back to back, like was the same thing poetically, you know,
100%.
And it's like, I know kids that would have been probably dead if they didn't have that outlet,
some outlet to,
you know, or if they couldn't figure out a way to relate to somebody or many, you know. But anyway, so I think that's an interesting point. Form of expression and finding that's super key. And I really, really hope anybody like listening that's getting to this is like, have the conversations with Rose, have the conversation with Meadow, have the conversation with your friends, with your parents,
with
like
you.
Whatever, because I guarantee you're gonna find some interesting perspectives, and you're not gonna like them all the time, you know, and you're not gonna please people with how you feel about them all the time, but having the conversation there's a lot of movement there.
Yeah, for sure. And doing what you got to do, you know. I feel like this is my thing. Like, everybody has their thing and like their whatever that makes them happy, and in a weird way, well, not a weird way, because this is me, but like, this is my thing. Like, this is what I want to do, and it's the brand. It's not the brand, because but it's like the idea of what it is that I want to accomplish. Is like, the music is kind of just a driving factor and a portion of what it is, and like the message. Like, if you don't like my music, that's great, that's all good, but if you can get behind what the message is, like, it's way deeper than music, and that's what this is about. It's like, hey, this is such a better podcast. It's full circle. That's what this is. It's like my way of trying to save the world. You know, as I said in the first podcast, like, I don't know a better way. I didn't have a better outlet, but I needed to say something. I couldn't live my life and just be like, no, we're just getting fucked again. Or like, well, you know, looking at what's going on, hearing people's opinions and talking to especially older people. Like, luckily I was able to have my grandparents. One grandfather is still in my life. The other grandfather recently just passed away. R.I.P. to him. But
accountability too is what you're talking about. You know, it's like, now you're accountable. Now everybody listening is accountable.
Yeah, for sure.
Now anybody,
like, I'm saying it, like, it's out in the world now. Like,
now you can be like, yo,
I got 12 subscribers on YouTube, but like, it's out in the world that like I want to reach.
If 12 people were in this room right now, it'd be a popping.
It'd be a popping ass room, dude.
Yeah.
But like,
this room's pretty big too. So.
This room's not bad. But yeah, like foreshadowing. Like, what do I see with this? What I want to do is create a catalog to what it is that I do, and music is going to be a part of that. So each month, the music comes along with the podcast to go deeper into these topics and talk about what the song is and whatever the thing is that I'm trying to do for that month. And I want you guys to reach out to me and, you know, comment in the YouTube, subscribe. That would be sick. I'll take whoever I can get. I asked my mother to subscribe to my YouTube, so there's no lengths that I will not go to ask for this, because hey, we're all in this together. I'm here with you guys. And even in the lyrics I said, what'd I say?
I don't know about that part. For my dogs.
For my dogs, that's it. They feed me, I'm the cause. In effect, don't forget, I'm so slick, I'm like Key Sweat. No applause, I'm a wreck. But this ship got gold in it. Yeah. I'm for all you guys, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm for us making this world a better place, because fuck else we got. We ain't going to Mars. We ain't gonna populate Mars. They're finna leave us behind if you think we're all getting on a Mars trip, unless you got them dollars, boy. And this ain't about no money. This is about extinction and us running this world into the ground. So I'm not here for that. I'm here to change that shit. So that's what the fuck I'm about. And if you're down, I hope so, because that's fucking cool, because the more people we get, the easier it is to change the world, because all the people in the world, they ain't got enough guns to kill us all. You feel me?
Let's do it.
But it's not even like it's not a police rules government or a military thing. It's like it's a people thing. This is a good versus evil people thing. Like, we have to do this shit for the people, because if not, they're gonna run us dry and then suck all our money out, as they've been doing, not making it easy for people to live, because people need to be able to live, have a house, be able to feed and provide for their family. That's what the fuck I'm about, is everybody should be able to have that, and have that for their people. And I think that we could get that shit done, and I know y'all can too. And thank you guys for reshooting this podcast. And I know sometimes I'm a pain in the ass, but it's for a good cause and good reason. It's for the art, baby.
For the art.
It's for the art. It's for the content. It's for the fact that together I think we could do it all, and I wouldn't be here without any of these motherfuckers. So good luck. Good night. Good riddance. I'll see you guys next week. Next month.
Oh.
Whatever the time frame is. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you all. All right, goodbye. All right, bye.